Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
That's great. Okay. So I think anyone who is attending this class for the first time, or all of you who are there on this session have attended yesterday's session. Anyone who is new?
Asif is new.
I am also new. Raghav here.
Can you please, everyone can mute and use the chat box. It would be easy for all of us to, I can follow your names also. So couple of people are new, right? Now you may face a little bit of difficulty in understanding the concepts which we are talking today, because we had a very elaborate discussion yesterday, and the objective is to build on that discussion. Okay, so it is important that you know a little bit of background about um, lease standard, and then only it will be fruitful for you guys. Okay, because it's a continuation of the last session which we had. Okay, because I will keep on referring to a few of the things, and then build on that through examples, and then move forward on that. Yeah, so a lot of things will have reference to yesterday's session. Okay, I can see a couple of people who are new. So that's okay. So just try to keep pace with what I'm trying to say. Yeah, okay, so let's move forward, guys, with yesterday's discussion. Today is our last session, and we will spend a lot of time in Q&A today. Okay, but let's go through some of the requests I have received, and what I will do is I will build on that request and take today's session forward. So yesterday we have discussed about, so we did this example, right, in detail, this example how these numbers comes in detail. So basis that we moved forward, and this was actually 1st April 2019 when the lease was commencing after the notification of the standard, right? But we will see how to do transition. So but let's go through the transition guidelines and rephase how the transition can be done, and then we will move forward to a Excel example. Yeah, so let me move to the transition option. Thanks, Sanuj, for identifying this. Thank you. So we saw this, right? Modified retrospective approach and retrospective approach. And what is the difference? Actually, in modified retrospective approach, you will change from 1st of January 2018, but in retrospective approach, and in modified retrospective approach, you will change from 1st of January 2019. And we saw this slide, and we saw that there are a lot of transition provisions which are available, right? So what we will do is we will see the transition provisions, and we will focus on how to measure the asset, right? So we will do the example under modified retrospective approach. Okay, and measure the asset and liability, measure the liability and asset in our example. Okay, let me open the example. Yeah, can you see my screen, guys? Excel, can you see my Excel screen?
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah, great. So look, this is a simple example. Just focus on my cursor, please. Don't read, below that. It will be easy. So there is a 5-year lease entered into on 1st of January 2017. Okay. So this is under IFRS we are doing. So the transition date would be what? 1st of January 2019, right? That would be our 1st of January 2018 would be our transition date, right? We will just go back and see. Yeah. So uh, they have done it, and there is 1,000 rupees per year which you will have to pay. And the discount rate when you entered on 1st of January 2017 is basically 8%. But when you were doing a transition, the rate was 12% per annum. Okay, 12% was the rate, correct? Now what you will have to do is, because this lease is from 17 to yeah. So so the borrowing rate which was there on the date of transition is 12%. So one important point we will have to consider for calculating of asset and liability is the discount rate which is available or applicable on the date of transition, right? Sorry guys, I think I have missed starting the audio. Okay, so now the important point which I was trying to make in this example is that the date of transition rate you will have to take and ignore the 8% rate, right? Now if you see our slide, there is only one method to calculate the lease liability, but there were two methods to calculate the asset value, right? The first was retrospective approach of calculating the asset, and the second one was prospective. Okay, let me show you the slide for understanding purpose. And these both, just to explain you guys, these both are under modified retrospective approach. Yeah, so you see here, measurement of asset, ROU asset is measured retrospectively using transition discount rate, and ROU asset can be measured as lease liability plus minus all these adjustments, right? So basis this, we will do our example using calculating this transition in two methods, basically in two forms. Okay, so let us calculate that. So you will see, you are paying the lease rental for 5 years at the beginning of the lease period, right? So you will pay first on 1st April 2017, then 1st April 2018, then 1st April 2019, 20 and 21. So 31st December 17, you can also read it as 1st April 2018 also, right? For clarification, I will write it as 1st April 2018, 1st April 2019, right? 1st April 2020 and 1st April 2021, right? Now you see, you will calculate the present value on the day of in which the lease was commenced, right? So what you will do for the first year, there is no discount rate because you will have paid at the beginning of the year, right? Second year, there will be 1 year discount, third year, 2 years discount, so on and so forth. So the discounted value, the present value of the 5 years lease is 4037. So this is a retrospective value of the asset which you are calculating. Okay. And what you will do, you will take it on 1st of April or 1st of April 2017 basically, and first of April 2017, and sorry guys, I think there is I would just have to correct this example from these are all basically Jan figures. Right? So what you will do for these 5 years period, you will calculate the discounted value of the asset, that if you would have following this standard from the beginning, what would be the discounted value of this asset? That is 4037. Okay. And what would have been the depreciation per year? Because it is 5 years, so it would be by 5, which is 805, right? And similarly, you will have 5 years of depreciation, which is equal to 4037. And this is the written down value on each year. And the date of transition is what? 1st of April, 1st of January 2019 is the date of transition. 1st of April 2019, right, is the date of transition. So you will calculate the value of the asset and then depreciate it for 2 years period and arrive at the number which is your asset number, right? So this is how you will calculate your asset on the day of transition when you are following modified retrospective approach, but calculating the asset retrospectively, right? Similar way, you will calculate the liability in this thing. Okay. How you will calculate the liability is on from the day of transition.
Piyush, Kunal here. I have just simple doubt here.
Yeah. Kunal,
Piyush,
just hold on. Let me finish. I will come back to you. Yeah.
Sure.
So liability calculation is 2690 basically, because you will calculate the liability from day of transition, 1st January 2019. Okay. So first year, again, because you would have paid the amount, there is no discount. Second year, 1 year discount, 2 years discount, and this is the value you will have. So you will see your asset and liability will have a different value, and this difference will get adjusted to your retained earning when you are doing a transition to Ind AS or IFRS. In this case, IFRS, right? So this is a little complex calculation. Okay. See the other example where you are taking an option of the value of ROU asset. ROU asset is equals to ROU liability. Okay. In this case, what you will do, you will just calculate the liability, and ROU asset also is the same value, exactly the same value, and your depreciation would be the balance 3 years. Whatever is your ROU asset, balance 3 years. So this is the entry you will pass. Normally in this situation, if there is no adjustment to ROU asset, your ROU asset is equals to your ROU liability, right? Let me just go back and show you the slide to connect the dots, and I apologize for the April and January confusion, but it is all January. Okay, you see there are two approaches. Approach one is full retrospective, which we are not talking about at all, right? In this example, we are not talking about full retrospective approach. We are only talking about modified retrospective approach. In modified retrospective approach, you will have to measure liability and asset. Measurement of liability is only one method. If you see both the examples which we have seen on Excel, the value of liability is the same, right? But how do you calculate the ROU asset? There are two options available. One was measure retrospectively using transition discount rate. This is what we have done in the first example. Okay. And the second is ROU asset is equals to ROU liability plus minus any prepaid accrual or rental. Okay. Now let me go back and explain you this concept again. This was modified retrospective approach where we calculated the value of asset retrospectively, depreciated it and brought to the written down value of the asset. If we would have capitalized the asset under new lease, what would have been my written down value? Okay. And liability, again, the remaining 3 years, you will calculate the liability and account for it. Whatever is the difference will go to retained earning on the day of transition, which is 1st January 2019, right? And so on and so forth. The next year's depreciation and liability unwinding will happen. Okay. But here in ROU asset is equals to ROU liability, you will have to just calculate this ROU liability, which is the same in option A and B both. Okay. And then, you know, you can calculate this particular thing. Yeah. Now I will tell you one very important aspect also, which we have faced when we were doing transition. But now I am open to take questions on this point. So commencement date discount rate. Look, Sandeep, commencement date discount rate you will use post your transition. After 1st of January 2019, if you enter into a lease on 30th June 2019, you will take that day's discount rate. But there is an exemption which is given, okay, in the standard itself, that you can take the discount rate available on the date of transition, okay, on the date of transition. So that is where you will use that discount rate, because you assume that an entity may have 5,000 leases taken up in the different point in time in the previous year. It may go back to 5 years, 6 years, 10 years. How would you go and determine those rates? So you will take only one blanket rate on the day of transition. That is where 8% we have ignored and we have taken 12% for calculation, right? Okay, guys, any other question?
Hi, Fish. Kunal here.
Ha, Kunal, tell me.
Fish, if this date of amount recognition, date of transition is somewhere in the mid of the year, then what we do? We do
No,
retrospective.
date of
How?
transition cannot be in the mid of the year. The date of transition under IFRS is compulsorily 1st of January 2019, and under Ind AS is compulsorily 1st April 2019. So date of
Okay, it
transition
cannot
is
be.
not changing. Under normal circumstances, after the commencement of this standard, we have discussed that yesterday. I believe you have not attended yesterday's class, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the confusion. So
Okay.
we will share the recorded
Okay.
videos in few days time. We are just setting up our IT infrastructure and we'll share the videos. You
Okay.
can go through it, and this example will make more sense when you understand that. Okay. Now, Sandeep, again,
Sure.
if you if you see my example, Sandeep, there are two approaches. The 3 balance sheet approach is required when you do full retrospective. That is where your 2018 numbers are changing, right? But modified retrospective, only 2016 numbers are changing. Guys, can you please mute your background? I think some people are facing problem. I have already muted all the participants actually, but those who are using video may be creating this. Yeah, right. So you got it. You got your answer. So 3 balance sheet question will not arrive when you are doing modified retrospective approach for your transition. Okay. Let me go back and answer this last question on this. I believe rest of you guys are clear. So the liability calculation is simple, Varun. You have on the date of transition on 1st January 2019, you have 3 lease payments which were outstanding, right? So you will do discounting and do it. Yeah. Okay, great. So can we move on to the rest? Kumakim, we have spoken about it in very detail, right? That this date of 8% discount rate was on the day on which lease was entered. Lease entered on this date, okay? But 12% incremental borrowing rate is on the date of transition. And you will ignore whatever is the discount rate, because let's say there are 100 leases and there are 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different discount rates can be available. But in this particular case, you will take only one discount rate and move forward. Got my point? Okay, great. Great. So what we will do now is we will go back to some other concepts, okay, which we want to cover. Let us see now a balance sheet so look, till now there is no year-end balance sheet which is published under this thing, the new lease standard. Only quarterly has been published so far. So let's see Reliance balance sheet. Okay, let's see Reliance balance sheet and what they have done for this thing, for the lease, because the first time they will adopt lease is in their first quarter balance sheet, which ends on 1st of June, 30th of June, sorry. Right. So you see, let me show you. So this is the SEBI unaudited result quarterly, which they have disclosed, okay, which they have published to SEBI and to the public as a whole, okay. And they have given a note. The group has adopted Ind AS 116 effective 1st April 2019 and applied the standard to its leases. This has resulted into recognizing ROU asset and corresponding lease liability of 9904 crores. The impact of the profit and loss account of the quarter is not material, right? So this is what they are writing. Normally what happens when we recommend it, we say that the company has adopted modified retrospective approach, okay, and has measured ROU asset equal to the corresponding liability. They have not identified here in their notes that which method they have used for adoption, but it is very clear by indications that they have used modified retrospective approach for transition, right? And when you will see the year-end balance sheet, you may see some adjustment coming in on account of lease adjustment. If you see this kind of adjustment, which asset and liabilities are not equal, which will go to your retained earning portion, right? So this is what you can see in your balance sheet. When you make the balance sheet, you can see it in your balance sheet, this adjustment, and an elaborate note will come in the year end, but not in the quarter. So quarter, you can see a note and they will identify what is ROU asset and how much it is and all that stuff. You can see more balance sheet. Since mentioned asset and note, hence it can be said as retrospective. I did not get the question actually. But you know, when you do it more and more, you can just by reading the notes, you can identify and cross check and cross verify what approach an entity has adopted. 95% of the people adopt modified retrospective approach. Okay. But now when it comes to modified retrospective approach, let me tell you one very important thing. Okay. What is that is this option of valuing the asset. Okay. This is called as option A and B. Okay. You see in this option, your asset is higher, right? In this option, your asset is 2690. Yeah, 24. Your asset is in this option, below option, your asset is higher, which is 2690 as compared to this option, right? By 268 rupees, right? Now, what does it mean when you are choosing an option? This 268 rupees, if you go by this option B, which is a simple option, even Reliance has adopted this option. Okay. But if you evaluate critically, what this 268 rupees will do is reduce your future profit, right? Reduce your future profit, in turn reducing your future EPS also, right? So some companies, of late, this has been realized that this is a better option, though it requires more working, but it is a better option to choose option A rather than choosing option B, because the option B gives you a higher value of asset, in turn higher depreciation in your profit and loss account of the coming years, right? So you got my point, guys? You see the depreciation for the next 3 years is higher in this option, right? That means your P&L will be reduced by 89 rupees per year, ultimately 268 rupees on the overall 3 years, right? This is a very, very fine difference. I believe, you know, if you even debate to those of the guys who have done it, you will find a very interesting discussion with them, and you can bring this value to the table, because very few people are actually, you know, focusing on this aspect. And it is not profit management, but if your profitability can be higher with the options given in the standard, why don't you use that, right? Look, Vedant, I would refrain from commenting on the tax treatment of 268 rupees. I am not a tax expert, hence I will restrict myself to only accounting. I may not be able to give you the right answer, so I would skip that question. But no, so asset and liability equal. So there is a modified retrospective approach and retrospective approach. These two examples are both under retrospective approach. Okay, these are all both under modified retrospective approach, but under modified retrospective approach, there are two methods to value asset. That is where I am going back again and again to the presentation to help you correlate this fine point, because a lot of people get confused. So there is a full retrospective approach, right? Where you will calculate asset and liability from day 0. But there is a modified retrospective approach where you can measure liability. Measurement is only through one way, but you can measure the asset through two ways, right? Where asset is equals to liability is this, or ROU asset is equals to measure retrospectively using transition discount rate. Got my point, guys? Very, very fine difference is there. Okay, don't get confused when we are, remeasure the asset from retrospectively. It is not retrospective approach. It is still modified retrospective approach, but asset is measured through retrospective way, right? Vedant, you choose either approach, it will be tax agonistic, that much I can tell you. This approach decision has to be taken mostly from your book profit point of view, mostly for the listed companies, whether they want to maintain their EPSs also, right? So tax is another a detailed discussion on Ind AS, and hence I don't want to, take that discussion here. Yeah. Okay, guys, any other question? Because today you are free to ask a lot of questions, because today's discussion would be highly technical when we say, because we are going to the finer points of the things. Yeah, any question, let me know, but please do understand these transitions very well. Okay. Okay, guys, now I will go to the difference between IFRS and Ind AS. Okay, IFRS and Ind AS, so that you can cover, you can say now that I know Ind AS also and IFRS also, both you will know. Okay, now this is the comparison with IFRS 16 leases. Okay, there are 2-3 differences which are there between IFRS and Ind AS. Apart from that, can you please mute yourself? Ankit, can you please mute yourself, please? Yeah, thank you. Okay, so you see there are couple of 4 differences which has been identified. Okay, and the way Ind AS and IFRS is being structured is, you can read it very, very easily. Either you use Ind AS standard or IFRS standard, it is the same, because even the paragraph numbers are same, and whatever are the differences has been written down by way of annexure at the back of IFRS. Okay, so what I will do is I will upload all these documents somewhere, so that all of you can access these documents and even the recordings, etc. Okay. Okay, so look at the first difference. Again, a very fine difference, but that is where we use always that IFRS and Ind AS are similar but not same. Okay, so we should not take the liberty of saying both are same, so let's do it. Okay, it won't work that way. So the first fine difference is investment property. IFRS allows investment property to be measured at fair value, but Ind AS does not allow investment property to be measured at fair value. Okay, so if you are accounting any lease as a finance lease, right to use of asset, which is technically a investment property, you cannot adopt a fair value approach for that. Am I clear, or it is complicated? Investment property, I don't think a lot of people would be aware of the concept. So investment property is any property which is land or building used for the purpose of only rentals, okay, or earning future benefit by way of increasing of their price or value. Okay, so what happens is, let's say you have taken a property on lease, okay, which is a building which you have subleased to someone. So it becomes, so you will record, you will identify the ROU asset under the lease standard, but you will classify this as investment property rather than property, plant and equipment. Okay, you will classify as investment property in your balance sheet. It is a separate disclosure which is required. And investment property under IFRS 16 can be measured on fair valuation, but it is not allowed to be measured under fair valuation under Ind AS. Hence, this is the difference, right? Very fine, very rarely you will find this difference coming to your way. But if you want to become a good professional, I think the fine differences is what you should know, right? Again, under cash flow, under IAS 7 is the standard for cash flow. And in that, there is an option which is provided. The interest which we are calculating on the lease liability, it can be operating or financing activity. But under Ind AS 116, it is compulsorily classified as financing activity. If you recollect yesterday, someone, I think Venkat has asked this question, that how do you treat in the cash flow? So under Ind AS, it has to be treated only under financing activity. Under IFRS, it can be treated under financing or operating. Okay, now rest two are just very balance sheet terminology has been used instead of statement of profit and loss account and all that stuff, which is fine. And the effective date of IFRS is different than the effective date of Ind AS, so that is another difference. Yeah, so these are the four differences between Ind AS and IFRS. So if you are on the top of these four differences, you are aware of Ind AS and IFRS 16 very well. So I have got one question from Gaurav. No, ROU asset will be one heading under which you will disclose land, building, vehicle, etc. It is not that under each vehicle you have vehicle owned, vehicle ROU, right of use, right? No disclosure is wrong, but we prefer ROU asset as a separate category of assets. Yeah, guys, Gaurav, am I clear? Okay, any other question, guys? Please take liberty of this time to ask questions and let me know if this is clear to you guys. Is it clear, guys, or it is too much of complication? Look, ROU disclosure, Harshita, is separate. If you remember, were you there yesterday, Harshita? Subsequent measurement, if you see, there was a slide on subsequent measurement. Let me tell you that slide so that because these fine differences is what will make us yes, this slide. You see, ROU asset at the inception, there is a method to do it, right? But subsequent measurement is cost model, fair value model, revaluation model, and impairment model. So here what is being said is that fair value model, if it is a this thing, investment property, you are not allowed to use the fair valuation model. That's the point I'm trying to make. It is not disclosure, it is value itself, right? No, Vedant, it is not available with me because I have downloaded only Q1, and in Q1 or even in Q2, the full-fledged disclosure is not mentioned, but there are certain places, places where you can find that disclosure, okay? But in the current financials, I can't see 31st March 2020 financial. When it closes, you will see the disclosures there. Sandesh, I am not clear with your question, so you will have to rephrase it. Okay, guys. So good. So Monica, just hold on to your question. Okay. I'm asking you any question related to the topic we have discussed now. What I will do, I will open the forum in next half an hour or so that all of you can answer any question under lease topic, right? So please raise your question at that point in time, Monica. I will be happy to answer that question. Okay. Now we have done IFRS, we have done Ind AS, okay, and I have been very clear and focused on the fact that we are only doing from lessee point of view, because lessee is what has changed. Lessor has not been changed significantly, but what I will do is I will just flip through. I will not explain you in much detail, but we'll just flip through the lessor accounting as well. When I will share or give access to you guys on for the deck, you can, you know, see these decks also. Okay. So you see, lessor has finance and operating lease. Okay. If the risk and rewards are transferred to the lessee, then he will record it as operating lease, and otherwise it will account it as finance lease. Now, the basic question which comes when we talk about this thing is that one asset can be recorded as finance lease by both lessor and lessee. There is a possibility, because the way the definitions are defined, it does not say that you look at what lessor is doing, right? You do your independent evaluation, and there is high chance that one asset is recorded under two books as finance lease by lessor and lessee both. Getting my point? Yeah. Thank you, Harshita. So what determines the lease classification, whether it is a finance or operating lease? There is no one condition, but there are few conditions. When we have gone through our CA classes, or you know, even BCom and MCom classes also have this topic. So it is indicative criterias, that transfer of ownership at the end of the lease period, option to purchase the asset at the price which is less than the fair value, lease is of the majority of the lease period, right? Present value of minimum lease payment is equal to or less than the fair value of the leased assets, right? We used to do that computation. Lease is of specialized nature. Then there are other indicators. Okay. So if all these indicators are there, not one is important and the other is not. Okay. But you will have to take a judgmental call, and the way we will treat it is very similar to the earlier lessor leasing, right? So hence I am not, you know, trying to explain you again this concept, because my idea is to focus on the lease accounting, which is there because, you know, all of you know this accounting. Okay, guys, are you with me? If yes, then we will move to our next topic of the day, which is US GAAP, right? Now, US GAAP is an animal in itself. Okay, to tame that, you will have to, or rather, before going to US GAAP, let me cover one ITFG. Does this have a lease? Yeah, let's take this example. Okay, guys, do you know about ITFGs? Do you know about ITFGs? Okay, great. Shubham, no. Anyone? Yes. Oh, wow. I believe, guys, if you guys are interested, you know, and in this accounting subject, uh, okay, okay. So most of you who are there are not aware of, barring few people, what is ITFG. Okay. Let me give you a little background about ITFG and why it is important for you as a profession. Okay. Professional person. So let me, okay, let me step back. When this question has come up, you know, um, I'm you know, dealing with a lot of people in the industry. Okay, and please take it with a pinch of salt, whatever I'm telling. It's not blaming anyone or something like that. There is a twin balance sheet problem. Okay, twin balance sheet problem is a banking word, but I'm saying the problem at both the ends. The industry problem is that they don't get skilled people. Okay, they say we are getting qualified people but not skilled people. Okay, and student says that companies are not hiring us, right? A lot of people say we find difficulty in getting the job and hiring us, and at the same time companies struggle in finding resources. So company need resources, people need job, but where is the disconnect? So there is a huge disconnect. Let me give you an example for that. Okay, when you become qualified, okay, actually you become a gold from the gold mine. Someone has, you know, you have gone and you have done a lot of hard work on yourself, and you have attained some qualification, MBA, CPA, CMA, whatever. You have actually become gold. Okay, but the industry does not need gold. The industry needs jewelry, right? So this is the difference which is now, which is coming in, that all our professional exams are heading towards making us gold but not making ourselves as jewelry, right? Which our industry, which anyone can come and go on the showroom and just buy. If you have to buy gold, you buy something which is, you know, useful, or you can buy a gold coin or something like that. So that's the point which I believe in strongly on skill development, and that's the whole thought process of you know, creating these sessions, is to create that awareness, remove some of the burdens which we have, some of the frictions which we have between the job seekers and the companies, the campus to corporate growth, you know. So that is precisely the point. Now let me say, if you go for an interview in an Indian company, okay, and you say you are a qualified accountant, cleared in first attempt, whatever, okay, with 60-70% marks and all that, but if this question comes in, that whether you know Indies, your answer would be no, right? I would say nothing wrong in that, because our courses are structured in some such a way that they are 5 years back actually from the way world is moving, right? So we will have to work on ourselves, make ourselves a product which can be quickly hired, right? They are not hiring your qualification nowadays, they are hiring skills, right? So uh, I come up with examples like, I have interviewed 50 people, but I could not get even one good CV, right? Or one good interview going. So why don't we take responsibility of ourselves and try to fill that gap? I'm sorry for giving all this gyan to you guys, but felt it is important to understand this aspect. If we don't work on ourselves, no one is going to help me. If you go to the corporate, they are not going to teach you from this thing. Okay, you go and see the ITFG. They will just say, do the lease accounting, and you will do your best without knowing that there is a plethora of knowledge which is available, which should be used, which you should be aware as a professional, right? So you learn by making mistakes, rather than, I would say, you learn by investing some time on yourself. Okay, sorry guys if I have made no sense to you, or it looked like a gyan, but let's come to what is ITFG. Okay, so what has happened is when Ind AS have been introduced in India, there was a standards which has been issued. Okay, now these standards were, you will have to interpret these standards, and India doing it for the first time was really struggling. Ke, boss, what will happen? How there were a lot of questions which were coming in. So Institute ICI did a brilliant job in setting up India's transition facilitation group, which Gaurav has highlighted correctly. It is India's transition facilitation group to which industry can submit their questions. Okay, and this transition group will give you answers basically for your questions, right? So it is in the form of Q&A. If you go to Institute website and search for ITFG, if I'm not wrong, 24 bulletins have been issued, and till 20 or 18 or 19, they have made a compendium of the bulletins. Okay, very good questions and answers, right? Very, very typical issues have been explained very beautifully in that standard, and you can follow that to have your questions answered which are not answered by literature, right? So I would say till now, if I have to put in number, maybe around 300 questions in the form of FAQs, and which are quality FAQs, not a simple FAQ. Okay, that is very handy for any Ind AS transition or accounting for any Ind AS related stuff which comes to any Indian company. We all are in India, so have to follow Ind AS for bigger companies. A very, very handy literature, and each and every question should be read by all of us. If we term ourselves as accounting professionals, I think we should start reading the bare standard, and we should at least read the ITFGs. There is no option not to read ITFGs, right? Sahil, what you want to say with great examples means? Okay, so yeah, in ITFGs you will find beautiful scenarios, okay, which you will make you think, and the way it is articulated is also beautiful. That is where I have not made a slide of this. I'll show you how the ITFG top looks like. This is a clarification bulletin 21. Okay, they have given what is ITFG and all that stuff, and then you see this is a question which is there. So let's read the question, and then we will see the framing of the answer, and we'll look at the answer itself from ICI. Okay, so in 2015, PQR Limited entered into a lease agreement to take on lease an office building from ABC Limited for a period of 1 year. Since 2005, the contract has been renewed every year for a further period of 1 year at a time. As per the past practice, it is likely that the contract will be renewed for another 1 year at the expiry of the current term, right? The lease agreement does not provide, oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, now you can see the ITFG screen. Yeah, so I was just reading, I have just shown this, that how the ITFG looks like. It is a simple word, this thing. And this is the question I was reading. Please take a minute and read this paragraph, okay? Guys, whoever is doing CA final, okay? Anyone doing CA final here and accounts paper is still pending with you guys? Harshita. Anyone else in CA final? I think you guys should look at the strategy in which you study, okay? So just go through this agreement and tell me that what is your answer for this. Whether it is a, can you get a, exemption of less than 12 months? Why, Arun? Yes. So now, very good. So at least I'm happy that you guys followed what we discussed yesterday. Okay. But now the devil lies in detail. Okay. Now let us see the, no, amount. Sumit, amount may not be a factor at this point in time, but let us see the articulation and how you will have to look at a particular scenario when you do practically. Okay. Theoretically is something different. So all of you say reasonably certain, right? So now how the response is given is, paragraph has been quoted. Lease term is the non-cancelable period for which a lessee has the right to use the underlying asset, together with period covers for option to extend. That is what you were always saying, right? But they have said a contract. A contract is an agreement between two or more parties that create enforceable right, right? So now they are saying the combined reading of the above in determining the lease term, and therefore in determining whether a lease is a short-term lease, only the enforceable rights of the lessee to renew the or extend that lease beyond the non-cancelable period are taken into consideration. For example, whether a lessee agreement grants the lessee a right to renew or extend the lease beyond the non-cancelable period without the consent of the lessor, the lessee has the right to use the asset beyond the non-cancelable period. Okay. So in this current situation, does the lessee has a right to use this premises without the consent of the lessor, is the question. Because this is saying that, okay, this is all fine that you can extend and he may agree and all that stuff. But tell me, boss, first, whether you have a contract in place or not. Here the question has gone back and asked you whether a contract is there. There is no contract. So every year there will be a contract and everywhere it will be renewed. Then only it will be treated as a long-term lease, or the period of extension will be considered, right? So guys, this is what I wanted to show you, one example of ITFG, which is, I believe, a little simpler example, but there are quite complex examples also. And now, since you have gone through this session, I'm pretty sure that you would be able to correlate what we have been discussed and learn new concepts and new points which are more deeper and not we have only the surface knowledge. Yeah. So that is what I wanted to bring onto the table by having one example of ITFG, right? They are beautifully structured. I really like reading the articulation of the way ITFG is given, because it gives you a complete depth of the things. Yeah. So there are many. I can't cover all ITFGs. I have just taken one for example, so that the awareness is there with all of you guys. Okay. So any question on this ITFG or the way ITFGs are structured, or I can take a pause and talk about some practical scenarios? Or yeah, Gaurav. So education material is also issued by ICI. There are few education materials which are available on the website of the ICI as a resource. Okay. So you can just freely access those education material. It is a a more explanatory of the accounting standard which you read. It is more technical, but when you go to the education material, for each topic discussion, it is discussed with examples, so it makes very easy for you to uh, you know understand that, right? So this is the education material. And then no one is actually compulsory. Okay. Nothing is actually compulsory, but that you will have to use. Guidance note is a compulsory in the hierarchy of using it, but ITFG and all are not compulsory, but you are very, very safe by using these tools. And you cannot go against, because the person who is reviewing your work, let's say you are doing it as an auditor or you are doing it as a company, your work, whoever will review, will he will get better comfort if you give them ITFG references, education material references, right? These all the documents are freely available on ICI website. And Harshita, thanks for sharing the link with everyone. Try to play with some of these, download, try to see all these things. And what I will do is, for any further issue of ITFG, we will have this group. Okay. So we will issue the I will keep on sharing the updates which are happening in this accounting world, and any other issue which comes up which is new. One of the issue which is coming up is now how to account for COVID related accounting, right? A lot of questions are coming related to that. What I will do, I will forward that material in the group, and you may read it when you please. Okay. So that's how it is. Okay, guys. Yes, Gaurav, that is what I'm trying to say. That is what I wanted to say, that all big four firms, or even SEBI, or even the peer review which will happen, all will have to respect that. There is no compulsion that you will have to follow ITFG. That is what I'm trying to say. But if you don't follow ITFG, then what you will do? If you have a particular scenario which has been addressed in ITFG, you will have to follow ITFG. Or if there is something in the education material, you will follow that for your accounting purposes. Got my point, guys? So should we move forward to the next topic? Should we move forward? Yeah, I'm giving you a 30 seconds to ask any question. Okay, I'm just muting myself. 30 seconds to ask any question, and then we will move to the last bit of it, which is US GAAP. Okay. Example means there are a lot of practical examples. If you go to food courts, right? All these food courts which are there in malls or even in the, so even in, the office spaces, you see some of the malls gives you food cards. So you can only pay to one counter, but you can purchase to any counter, right? That is where you will get the indication that the rentals are also dependent on the variable amount which these guys earn, because they want to keep a tab on how much expenses has happened on which store. So it is very prevalent in the market, variable lease payments. Yeah. No. Now there is no finance lease. There is no operating lease. No, it will be a normal expenses now. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So now we will go to last question. I will take Gopal Krishna, Monica. No, Monica, not only this, you will have to look at other criterias also. Yeah. The criterias which are mentioned in one of the discussion which we did, you will have to see that, right? But having a separate criteria or separate, consideration traceable to the asset is also important. It is also and not only. Yeah, Monica. Okay, guys, last topic of today and of the lease class is this. And again, I will try to, so I'm using a publicly available document. This is being developed by Moss Adams. Okay. Can you see this? Can you see my screen, guys? Yeah. So look, you can use this. It is a good literature, basically. Okay. So I wanted to, show you that, because US GAAP has a lot of differences, and I may not be able to cover all, but I will cover important discussions. Okay. So under Ind AS and IFRS, there is no concept of operating lease, but there is a concept of operating lease in US GAAP. Okay. But even in operating lease and US GAAP is, and US GAAP is, ASC 842. This is called as ASC 842, like Ind AS 116. Under US GAAP, it is called as ASC 842. Okay. So you see, we will do it in a little different way. So you see this example. So previously in ASC 840, there was a concept of capital lease. Now that concept is called finance lease. Okay. But in finance lease, you can, and in the lease classification, you can have finance lease and operating lease. Okay. Even in operating lease, what you would do is you would account for ROU asset and ROU liability. Okay. But the way you will charge the expenditure is very different. Okay. What you will do is you will account for your ROU asset and ROU liability. Okay. The discounted value of ROU asset and ROU liability, you will account for it, and you will arrive at the lease expense which you will have to do on a yearly basis. Okay. And what you will do, a different accounting which will happen here is this. Okay. So the total expenses, including your interest, amortization, and your amortization component is 335,000. Your under US GAAP for accounting for operating lease. Okay. accounting for operating lease, you will have a straight line expenditure in your books, which is the same. Okay. So what will happen is your interest will be getting calculated on your liability component, which comes to your books. Okay. The way we have done it under Ind AS, but the amortization component is not straight lined. It is the balancing figure between your single lease payment minus the interest component. And this will come as amortization component. Okay. So you see amortization component is not a straight line rent. Straight line is what? The single lease expenses is straight lined, but the amortization, internally amortization which happens and for disclosure purpose will happen like this, right? This is one big difference which I wanted to highlight, the ASC 842 also. And my objective is to give you a flavor that ASC 842 is not same. It has differences on different levels. This is a very good document, a 54-pager document, which will talk about ASC 842 in detail. Yeah, guys? Yeah. I will be sharing this, but you will just have to wait for some time. Okay. I will have to just figure out how and what way I will be sharing this. Jitendra, there is a difference. If you see the example, were you there yesterday or day before yesterday? Is this your first class, Jitendra? You remember the Excel sheet which we shared, where there was yesterday we discussed that case where we took 0.25%, right, as the discounting rate rather than 3%. Yeah. So if you pay monthly, your discounting will also be done monthly. That's the difference. So the way you will do discounting will differ, Jitendra. I will do that for this MOS thing. I will do that. Yeah, Nikisha, I will do that. Okay, so let me tell you, let me just see what are the points which I have kept for today. By that time, please feel free to guys ask any questions which you have. Let me just see what are the points which we wanted to cover today. So ITFGs, transition disclosure, difference between Ind AS and IFRS, Reliance disclosure, lesser accounting, and now we are left with any Q&A, and we can use this time to discuss any point. My original estimate was also that we will take close to 5 hours to complete that. So let me know what are your questions. Now the topic is open. You can ask any question. Okay, and I'll try my best to give you the answers for that. Guys, any questions? Till yesterday we were getting a lot of questions. No questions indicate two things. Either you have not understood anything or you have understood well. Shinu, as I'm saying, for all the materials, we are figuring out a way to share with all of you guys. Okay, so we will do it soon. Yes, Sumit, lot of occasions, those companies which are, EBITDA driven, right? were not willing to change to finance lease because or were willing to change to finance lease, but there are a lot of companies whose debt coverage ratio was going for a toss, were not so willing to move to the new lease standard. Okay, and that is the whole issue. Shinu, I understand because one group is completely full and we have started the second group also. Just go to my original post and you will find that link there. You can just click on that link and you can, because I've edited my post, and you will have a new link there. Just try it quickly and you will be able to join the WhatsApp group, Shinu. Look, there are again those criterias which are there, which I may not be able to complete it so quickly, but those criterias which does not, you know, um, um, uh, let's say, agreement which was getting classified as a service in that Ind AS may get classified as a operating lease under US GAAP. So if I have to explain you precisely, but don't take it on the face value this comment, because again there are a lot of details around it. Monica, I don't think there is a straight lining which happens in US GAAP. Nikisha, practical examples of what you want, just let me know. Look, in the WhatsApp group, again, guys, I'm saying for all the materials, the recording of the class for today and yesterday, since a lot of people are reaching out to me for those recordings, give me time. In the first week of April, we will try to share as much material as possible and give you access for those material. Yeah. So whose question I was answering? Any question which is pending to answer? Nikisha, you were saying some practical examples. Look, we have done very lot of different examples. Places, lot of places where we have done in Indian scenario was on building lease. Okay, on one thing which we still don't have a clear answer is what to do on car lease. Also, some of the examples we have evaluated was on warehouses and the depots of the companies which have multiple depots, how to handle those kind of data. We have suggested them some tools. Even artificial intelligence has been used to read the agreement, the lease agreements, etc. Okay, so that is how it is. So lot of places, even vehicle leases we have seen, even the data leases, the cloud coming under leases we have seen. So a lot of questions like that we have implemented in a practical scenario, and the Excel sheet which comes out after that is very complex if you have to tackle through all the permutation combinations. So that becomes very difficult. But if you see the Excel sheet which I am going to share with all of you, you should use that Excel sheet and ensure that your computation becomes 0. Yeah. So did I answer your question? Let me see the next question now. Sir, you mentioned that a lessor and lessee can both recognize the asset in the in finance lease in certain circumstances, how would that be dealt in terms of interest depreciation and the tax impact? Okay, look, tax impact, again, Harshita, I would refrain from answering that question, but both of them are independent, right? No one else gives you access ke boss, let's tell me what accounting you have done, what accounting I will do, because these both are independent evaluation. But the problem comes where both subsidiary and holding records it as a finance lease, right? Again, I will not rule out it as a possibility. It comes as a consolidation adjustment if both of them has recorded as a finance lease, right? But it can happen, and it will happen practically at lot of occasion now. You know, let's take an example. There is a building which you have taken on a sublease, right? So that person will also account for it as a finance lease, and you will also account for it as a finance lease. Yeah. Okay. Any other question, guys? Any comments, suggestions? We can use this time for that purpose. And yes, there will be a disclosure that there are a lot of disclosures which you will have to make. And when I will share the link, I would share a detailed disclosure also, and even try to, update a sample disclosure as well for year-end financials. Okay. And then as and when the companies come out with their disclosures, I will keep sharing it with you so that you can keep a pace with that. Someone asked me the question that will we be continuing with all the other standards? So look, the objective of these marathon sessions, I'm trying to complete 42 hours in this 21 days, but we want to, give you a flavor and prospect of all the different things which are available across to become a better professional. Okay, accounting standard is one of them, but we will have a lot of some of these soft skill questions and topics. We will also have some external speaker coming in and discussing about that, like someone heading the internal audit function or someone heading a GIC for a large company. He coming and asking and giving their perspective to us. That's the objective. The next topic which I'm trying to take is Steve Covey. Have you heard about this name, Steve Covey, Seven Habits? And anyone has read it? Have you heard about Steve Covey? No. Jitendra says no. Seven Habit, his book, Seven Habit. Arun says yes. Monica says yes. No, he is not just a motivational speaker, Gaurav. So the book he has written, Seven Habits, okay? It is an extremely powerful book, extremely powerful book. He has given you 7 concepts to be used practically in your life, okay? A wonderful concept. I have read that book multiple times, and every time you come up, with some new concepts to be implemented in your student life, in your professional life, in your personal life. So what I'm trying to do is on Monday, maybe between 11 to 1, I may take that as a session, as a next session, and then we will have some more sessions to come up. And I'm open to have suggestions, because I'm seeing there is no no, it will not. Both are separate legal entities, Sahil, so it will not have any impact. Yeah. Neha, due to something, I may not have be taking session on this weekend, okay, on Saturday and Sunday, because some of the issues I will have to close. But my commitment is that we will together try to complete the 52, 42 hours together. Yes, Prem, it will definitely, and I will answer your question separately. Yes, Sandesh, making mind maps always help. I always did that, but for this topic, unfortunately, I don't have. Okay, Gaurav, because what is happening is some of my US calls are getting, clashed with 6 to 8 timing. So I'm figuring out any other time, whether 4 to 6 work for you guys. Yeah. So let's try to take it 4 to 6 timing. Okay. Okay. So Bill, 7 habits work for you guys as a next topic. I will update all of these in the WhatsApp group, but I want you guys to be regular, okay? Because to be very frank, to take these kind of sessions, I will have to spend a lot of time, to structure the delivery. So I would just need that it goes to as many people as possible and try to be regular on this thing. Yeah. Yes, yes, Sandesh, we will do that. So any last comments, guys? How did you felt the entire lease session going? Or rather, I would suggest if you can put in the comments on the LinkedIn, that would be great. If you liked the session, if you did not like and felt like a waste of time, call me and blast me on that. Okay. So I will be just posting something on the LinkedIn. So, just your comments would help and encourage others also. Some requests are coming, uh, you know, saying that more sessions on Indies. Let me figure out how we can do it. If I'm not able to take, I will have some good faculties coming up and taking these sessions. Yeah. Shinu is also saying more sessions, and some other people are also saying, let me figure out and see how we can have more sustainable model to do these courses, or rather cover the entire spectrum of the IFRS and prepare you guys to, write the ACCA exams. Okay. Yeah, Varun. So we are trying to make a balance, but at the same time, I may consider the option of having a full-fledged formal batch for Indias, for all of you guys, so that you are well versed with Indias, US GAAP, IFRS, even ITFGs, and also can write the ACCA DIP IFRS exam. So something like that, which gives a win-win for all of us. Okay, guys. Okay, so thanks a lot, all of you, for coming in and bearing with me for such a long time. So thank you very much. Have a nice day.